Here we have the current stock market update from Microstrategy Incorporated, stock ticker MSTR. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts below in the comments section so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. So what we're looking at here is the 4-hour time frame. Each candle on this time frame represents a 4-hour trading period. And as we can see here, share prices have now broken through the prior historical resistance level, which came in right around $200 even. Overall, this does also signify a share price break above that major triple top resistance zone that we have been watching for this stock. And if we sort of move in a bit more closely here, we can see that this level has now been tested from the top side as well. So this really does sort of confirm this area as being the significant, the main price level to be watching. So we have, correctly identified, which price zone was going to wind up being most significant for this stock. I have not changed any of the prior charting lines here, the trend lines. And as we can see, share prices did ultimately break above that triple top resistance zone, move higher, sort of fail a bit at the initial test of that, that initial attempt, I should say, at $200, and then we broke back down toward, this significant, triple top resistance zone previously, which would now be expected to work as a support zone, and then share prices were able to form a base in that area and then bounce from there. So, in addition to that, we also had this 20-period exponential moving average that came into contact with this area. So there were a few different factors that were working in combination with one another, which did suggest that this triple top resistance zone it was just below 180 really. That did allow this stock to sort of form a base here and then start to run higher. So with these cryptocurrency stocks, we are starting to see sort of a broad-based movement in the upward direction. And since this stock specifically, MicroStrategy, is now trading at its highs, it does become a bit more difficult to identify potential resistance zones here from this certain standpoint. Because if we sort of move down to the price chart here, we can see that there is no historical resistance in this area. There really is. We're literally in uncharted territory with these price levels in mind. So it does become more difficult to identify specific price regions that can work as resistance. So, one way of doing this, there are a couple of different ways of doing this. We can use standard deviation channels. We can also use Fibonacci extension zones. So one way of doing this would be to sort of establish a prior trend movement here, which we can use specifically using roughly this price move from sub $50 really. We were looking at share prices right around $45, and then this move up to $200 per share was a significant price movement for the stock. So one way of accomplishing sort of an upward price target here could be using Fibonacci extension zones. So one area that I would be watching with this in mind comes in right around just about 235, I would say, right around 235.90. We can point that into the price chart here. This could wind up working as an initial resistance zone because this would mark the 23.6% Fibonacci extension of that price move from roughly $45 to $200 per share. So that was the stock's prior all-time high. So this is a fairly significant price movement. And if we sort of plot this out into the future going forward, this would give us an initial upside resistance target of roughly 235.90. Now, we do also have to look at the indicator readings on this time frame because these are fairly significant, and I should really point these out here. I think these are even more important than the Fibonacci extension zones. So as we can see here, we have broken through that prior 198 resistance level. That was that initial failure, that initial attempt to overcome that $200 mark, specifically sort of resulted in a failure at 198. But we've now broken above that level. But one thing that should be noted here is that there is a very clear bearish divergence that is starting to develop in the indicator reading. This is a lot of upside price movement in a very short period of time. And as we can see here, this does create a bearish divergence condition. For the most part, we can say that we did break above this prior trend in downside momentum, which is positive for the stock. But at the same time, the indicator reading is not confirming these upward price moves. So specifically, what I'm talking about here is this indicator reading here versus the price level that we're currently watching at the moment. So here we can see that share prices are making new highs, but the indicator reading here is not confirming those highs. Really, what you should be seeing in the indicator would be a reading that's much higher than these prior levels that we're seeing going back here. So this would have been the movement, into that $200 level. But what we can see here is that the relative strength index reading is far below that level, even though the share price itself is trading above that level. So this is a bit of a warning signal here. And I would suggest that this is likely to result in some downside pullback activity. And this is why I would discourage people from buying into this stock at this level. It's very easy to sort of buy into the hype. And most of the people that are favorable on this stock are favorable in almost a cult-like manner. And I think that that's ridiculous for several different reasons. I think that those people don't understand some of the basics about the company itself and about the fact that the underlying software business is really non-existent, and you really have to look at the number of how much Bitcoin does MicroStrategy actually have versus the price that you're willing to pay for the stock. I think that this is an incredibly risky choice. I mean, if you're bullish on cryptocurrency, that's perfectly fine, but there are other ways of expressing that view. And the easiest way to do that would be just to buy Bitcoin itself. There are also other companies, for example, Coinbase, which does have a much more viable business. The underlying business is much more viable. I don't think anybody even really knows what MicroStrategy does outside of buying Bitcoin. So I think that alone is a very significant risk for this stock. And it really does show that there are other ways of expressing this view. I mean, we can see that share prices are moving higher here. But I do think that once the market starts to realize that, there really isn't much else going on with MicroStrategy other than the fact that they're simply buying Bitcoin. I think that this stock will have less potential to continue making these long established runs higher. I don't think people even understand how much Bitcoin they actually have versus the price that you're actually paying for the stock. So at the moment, this is an upside price move that is showing bullish potential here, but we do need to keep in mind that there is a bearish divergence on the price chart, and the stock itself has made a significant run higher in a very short period of time. The Fibonacci extension analysis gives us an initial upside resistance zone of around $235. But this type of price action does tend to become much more unpredictable when you're dealing with historical areas that have not been traded before. So there is some risk that is involved with this trade. Here's the current stock market update from MicroStrategy Incorporated, stock ticker MSTR. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market, lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.